Jalaj, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Was there any connectivity network issue there?
Not at my end.
Mhm.
So you were talking about some dates, like which dates?
I said you right, we will have some hands-on. Do you remember? Yesterday, even in the previous session, I said you we will have some hands-on because
Yes,
CIF is there for us. We have to do some practical work, right? So on
yes, yes.
at least on Saturday or on Tuesday, we will try to do it because we have only on Saturday is our next session, or else we have to go for Tuesday. So by that, maybe our systems will be available for us to get you like what are the exercise which has to be done. So for that, we are trying to do for then another system altogether. So Suman will be communicating to you, however. So for that, we are trying to fix the dates. So when we are trying to do it, it is like Suman is going to tell you. Okay. So either on Saturday or it would be on again on Tuesday. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So someone has already provided me the system. So you said that there would be different system for practical or same system?
No, no, no. No, it will be same, but for me, I need to just check it, right? Because for this, I don't have any authorizations of config, anything as such. So I just can't change
Okay,
anything here. Just for most of the time, it is a display. So at least for me, he has to provide me some other system at least. So for that, at least someone has to get some system for me at least. For that, I'm still waiting for his uh,
okay,
confirmation.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So this is a work center, like how actually basically what are the resources which we have, which we are using in the APO. They are still in this is the same fashion how they have been created in the ECC as work center, that is CR02. So here we have a few important segments to be understood. So shall we go with the creation of a work center so that
Can
we
you show
find?
me the navigation path, please?
It's just a T code CR02.
Okay, okay, okay.
So I'm creating a new one for you. Yeah, there.
Yes, yes.
So here we have work center category. So I said you right, we basically have different types of work centers, right? So it can be a single activity resource, it can be a multi-activity resource, or it can be a mixed activity resource. I said you about multi-mixed or a single mixed? So I said you right, like if the resource is being used with both the PPDS and SNP, so it is called as a mixed resource. You got me?
Okay,
I said you about a scenario where production should not happen, but still the availability has to be taken care. So where the same resource has to respond to SNP. I said you, I hope you have remembered that example, right? So where SNP has to get some update, like what is the time by which it can give the given requirement, what is the requirement was being passed, within what time can it produce it. But at the same time, it shouldn't initiate the production, but it should just give him give an heads up to the SMP, like I can give you within 10 days. The other resource can give him like I can give you within 12 days. Do you remember?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, right? Yeah, very good, very good. So here we have different categories here like machine group, labor group, plant, 11 that is production line, and let us take example of production line. So basically when you say about it's a production line, that means you have a couple of resources which are laid in a sequence, which have defined operation for them, and you are trying to say that the whole pool of resources as a production line. You got me right? Like from one end it will be like we have took the example of bottleneck resource where we have different types of activity of resources, right? From the left side if you have sent the raw material, for the right hand you are getting a final product. So it has to undergo different type of activities which is handled by different resources altogether. So you can maintain it as a production line there. Got me?
Yes. Are you showing different screen, left hand, right hand? You said.
No, no, I was saying you about the example which I said you about bottleneck resource. You remember
Okay,
that
okay.
example, right?
Yes, yes,
The diagram even, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah. So let me make it as machine now. When I say machine, that means it is specific to that single resource. We are speaking to a single resource uh, efficiency or relevance to that single resource. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we have a few important things to be understood. So do you find here this rule for maintaining, right? Like for example, no check, may not be entered, should be entered, right? Something as such.
Yes.
Yes, right. So basically,
Yeah.
when you're why are we trying to understand more about this resources? When you're trying to do the routing, that is the operation which is going to be handled. So when you're trying to use it, so when you have maintained this as rule maintenance as should be maintained, for as let us should be entered. So what happens is like when the resource specific routing is going to happen, it will not make you it will ensure that all these keywords, that is setup key, setup time, machine time, labor time, all those will be becoming as a mandatory fields when you're trying to use this type of resource in any material routing. You got me?
What is the meaning of rounding? Routing, sorry.
Yeah. Didn't we discuss about what is BOM and routing? The
Bill of
combination of
material.
BOM, yes, yes, bill of materials and routing, both together is called as production versions, which is called as PDS in APO, production data structures.
Yes, I think yes. Yes, we discussed. Yes.
Okay, no problem. I will try to recollect for you. So we have discussed like material in ECC is called as a product,
Yes.
work center, resource,
Yes.
BOM plus routing, which is also called as production version,
Yes.
is called as PDS, production
Production
data
data structure.
structures.
Yes.
So when I'm trying to create the routing, that is all those set of operations which are required for me to make up my final product. So I took the example of what is the routing. I have took the example of preparation of tea. So though we have all bill of materials, unless you don't heat it, you don't get the final product, that is tea, right? The routing has to happen. That is the operation activity uh, called heating has to happen for it to undergo by this all the bill of materials. Only then you will expect your final product, that is tea. In the same fashion, all your final products, they may have to undergo different types of operations. I have said you about even the start and relationship of
Yeah.
activities, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, right? Yeah. So when I'm
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Arvind. Hello.
No, I'm not able to hear the Armin, Suman, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe some connection issue. Maybe.
Hello, Jillaj. Are you there?
Yes, yes, Suman. I'm able to hear you, but not able to hear the Arvind.
Okay. Okay. I will. I will check.
Jalaj?
Yeah, Arvind. I was not able to hear you from last 5 minutes.
Yeah, man. I think there is a serious network issue here.
So basically routing means the procedures to making the
So,
final product
not procedure, it is called as activities.
activities. Okay.
Yeah. So when I'm saying about activities, where do we create the activities on, or where do we undergo the activities? It is on resources. So in the example of preparation of tea, heating is an activity, right? So you may have your heating device. It can be a stove or it can be some other device which can have the capabilities of heating. So depending on the quantity and all, you will try to decide which type of resource to be handled. Am I right? You got
Yeah,
me
but
right?
resources like machine
Mm-hmm.
like we are creating.
Mm-hmm.
So this is again one routing.
The resource, actually, see the overall capability of a resource is like it is about to handle an activity. That's it. So if you can handle multiple activities, it is called multi-activity resource. You got me right?
Yes, yes. No, I'm
Yeah.
saying like the routing word. So you said like activity, and activity means the resource. So
Activity means not the resource. Activity is like done that which is performed on a particular material. You took the example of tea, right? So what is the activity there? Heating. To support that heating, you have a resource called stove. You got me?
yeah.
So I'm trying to create a resource which can handle a particular activity. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
So for this, especially for this resource, you have when you have these keywords, like for example, setup time, what is setup time, what is machine time, and what is labor time. If you maintain it as no checking, that means its system will allow you even if you're not going to maintain values against these specific values for this specific keywords. But when you maintain this as should be entered, let us say. So when you're trying to use this specific resource in your activity, in your creation of routing, okay, it will
Yeah.
not allow you to store the routing until unless you give some value for against this setup keyword. You should give this some specific value. You're into technical, right, Jalaj?
Yes. Yes.
So
Technical
you
means
know you no,
functional.
we have some. Oh, okay, functional. No, I because in technical, if you have to understand in the ABAP language something as such, we have mandatory or we have optional, right, in the
Correct.
parameters.
Correct. Correct.
In the
Correct.
same fashion, if you want to maintain parameters to be like as how we have optional or mandatory, if you want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ensure that when you're trying to use this specific resource in your routing, if you want to ensure that the system cannot ignore this value, then you will maintain this as should be entered. So what will happen
Yes.
then if you are trying to use this resource in your creation of routing, this system will not allow you to store the routing because you have not maintained the value against this setup key, because you have maintained as here as should be entered, which is something like mandatory. You got me right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I am again changing it as may not be entered or not checking something anything as such. Whatever we feel to be relevant, we will do it. May not be entered, I will maintain it. Okay. So here, so this is not again like very important, but try to understand like this is all about when you're trying to create the routing. So what are the activities which this particular system do handles? So again, what happens, like basically when you have come with the system engineers, you will be having production people team, PPP team, production planning team, where the whole core people who really know about the whole complete awareness of like how does the resource work in their process, they will be sitting with these people when they're trying to configure this, because they have to ensure about the values, like what are different values they have, what is the overall time which is required for it. So those are all they will try to define it when they are trying to create the resource. Like if you take the very same example of stove, let us say, like how much time can it be used, like what is the usage time it is, like how much downtime it has required, all those type they are trying to set up in this resource when they're trying to create the resource. For that, using the different formulas they have, they are trying to set up this. You got me right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here again in the setup time, what are the different types of units of measure? It can be minutes, it can be hours. So depending on the activity, how it is going to work, according to that you are trying to set up the basic unit of measure. This again, so this is, though it is very small setting for us in ECC, but it is a very prominent role plays in the part of APO. How if you remember, I have shown you the APO with the buckets, right? We have shown you about the buckets, right? So it will
Yes.
be able to see that like what is the duration of time it will be it will be measured. Like you may have a reservoirs which will be defined in the stage of not in the minutes or hours, it is in the stage of days. So I have said you about the process of extraction of alcohol or wine. Do you remember? Where we say that the resources are of type reservoirs. We are trying to store the material in the reservoirs and you are trying to do some chemical action to be happen. So the number of days to be calculated, the whole duration of the time is not calculated on the number of hours or minutes, but it will be in the days of number of days it has to preserve the particular material and how it has to work efficiently. So in that the resource capabilities are not defined or the resource capabilities or resource overall operation activities, they are not defined on the name on the basis of minutes or seconds, but on the days, number of days. You got me right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so depending on the different types of resources, it is going to change. And how are they going to be classified more, I will be showing you. So this is all about default values. If you want to uh, maintain some wage type, something as which is specific to again ECC, you will be trying to maintain it here. And you have something as reference ID here, right? So whenever you're trying to create this reference ID, you're trying to check mark this, what happens is, right, like, so what are the control key which you have maintained? In the control key, basically, what you will understand is like what are different types of activities which you have already maintained here, like setup time, machine, whatever you have maintained in these parameters will be directly carried out when you're trying to use this routing for this specific resource. So if you're trying to use this resource in the routing, those all values will be populated automatically. So that is just the significance of this reference ID. So if you don't want to do this, like if you want to change the control key there, then you will try to not, you will not check mark this. Okay, you got me? So you have
Yeah.
different control keys here again. Like if you see here, for all control keys, you will be having some significant settings. Let us say like if you are trying to use this resource in a third party, that is subcontracted scenario. So this is not purely about for the GTP, but it is most for the PPDS concept. But I thought like if you get some idea about like how the resources would be there and how do they enact, that would give you some information. So that was the reason why I have come here. One minute. If you see here, when I gone for detailed information for specific to PI, uh, PI 12, there were some additional settings which, like this additional checkups you are able to see, right? Like scheduling should be considered or not, costing should be there or not, inspection characteristic required should be there or not. So these are settings you are going to vary according to the what are the control key which you are going to maintain. You got me right?
Yes.
I will just make you go through with some other than PI 12 that will give you some information. Let us see. You see here, right? There are different types of settings which are going to change. So according to this all like scheduling should it happen or not. When I say scheduling should happen, that means you're trying to see like how is the resource occupied or not. That all parameters should be carried or not. You're trying to understand when you're trying to select this control key. You got me right?
Yeah.
So if the cost should the cost should be considered or not when the resource is working. So what is the you know about the concept of cost center? Any idea?
Mm. Cost center means the where the all cost incurred for the particular during the
Product.
supply.
Exactly. So when you may have different types of cost centers, Jalaj. So sometimes it can be a whole plant, or sometimes it can be a single resource even. So if you see about it, especially in the process of manufacturing, so what happens is like if you want to ensure that particular activity, depending on the activity which is going to perform, or depending on that resource performance, if you want to derive the cost of the product, you got me right. For example, I have two different types of resources. If you're going to produce the same material on resource 1, I'm going to get the cost as X rupees, and if I'm going to produce the same material on Y resource, it will be Y rupees. On the second resource, it will be Y rupees because of the efficiency of the resource, it may be, or it can be like what is the time it is consuming, what is the current it is consuming. So according to that, there may be the variation in the cost which is being derived. You got me right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in that segment, what they will do is like they will also assign those resources as a cost center so that the overall product's cost will be influenced by those resources. How are they performing? You got me right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, in those segments, we'll be trying to ensure this cost will be check marked. And if you see about scheduling, I said like when if you want to see like for example, it is type infinite type of resource. So basically you need not be bothered about the scheduling because how much of a load it is going to consider, it is not going to impact its overall behavior, right?
Yes.
That is the whole and sole purpose of the of a infinite type of resource, right? So in that way, this control key definition whatever you have maintained according to the what are the resource you have, so that will be pop up to the routing space, so that when the routing is happening, anything as such like for example it can be the what are the setup time is there, machine time is there, labor time is there, which you have maintained. These all parameters will be populated there once you have chosen this resource for the creation of routing. You got me right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is very important for you to understand capacities. So in these capacities, here you will be having formulas. So when I'm saying the word formulas, it is all about like this is all about which speaks about even in a formula related we'll be speaking about number of hours to be there, how much you are going to be the setup time, what is the breakdown and all that all will be formula. If you want to make it as a formula related, you will be making it as formula related, or if you want to make it as proportional to service, that means user will define the time. Might be I have multiple load, so I will change my overall resource time as not 8 hours, I will change it to 9 hours. If it has to be changed by users definition, then they will make it maintain it as proportional to service. So depending on the utilization of that resource and how do they have the setup and the business which they undergo, according to that they will try to set up this control of capacity reduction. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So here we
Is there
come.
any
The most
standard formula
important.
part of that?
Yeah, there will be some standard formulas which it is again a SPRO setting, where in the formula they will be having what is the breakdown time, what is the overall running time, if they have to maintain any shifts. Example like if the whole resource has to work in the shifts like A, B, C, D. So what is the overall duration of shift time? All those they will be trying to maintain in the formula, so that that all will be populated to the resource, and any entries the number of hours they have to come, that will be entered there. You
Okay.
got me right? Yeah. So here
Yeah, yeah.
in the capacity specifically, especially to the capacity, what should be the start time of the resource and what should be the end time of the resource you're trying to maintain it here. So let us say like I want to maintain it as somewhere in the morning in the 12, not 12, 0, 1. If you see here, you're able to see operating time as 8 hours, right?
Yes.
Mm. So it has changed to 15 hours because I have changed my start time of my resource as morning 1 until 17 is my working hour, whatever it is. Okay, you got me
Hmm.
right? So if I'm
Yes,
going
yes.
to use my resource for this all time, and sometimes if I can also maintain till 24 hours. So what is my capability of my resource? So according to that, I will try to maintain the value.
100%.
So
Yeah.
100%. So if it is 22 hours is operating time and 22 hours is the capacity. If I maintain it as 80%, I cannot, sometimes I may be constrained with the operating of the resource. I cannot operate till 100%. I may have to go only for 18%. So 80%. So that means 17.6 hours is the only the time which you are having in this. And number of individual caps. So if what you understand by this is like, do you remember the same example of bottleneck resource where I was trying to reduce the load of the resource by adding another resource of same fashion. Like I have added some other cutting machine, so it has reduced the overall load, right? So if you see here, it is 17.6 hours. Now I'm making it as 2 here. It has become to 35.2. That is the double of it because you have two resources to handle. So two resources are going to work for 17.6 hours. So that is the combination of those 2 hours, that is 35.2 hours is the overall time which can be considered for that activity. You got me right?
Yes, and with where we define like 5 days a week or 7 days a week or holidays is by factory calendar or something else.
Exactly, by factory calendar. Exactly, by factory calendar. In the factory calendar, basically, you will be seeing about what are the working days for it. Only that is there. But how, when it is going to start and when it is going to finish, that you are defining the time duration is here. Factory calendar will be helpful for you to understand about what are the working days and non-working days.